Let's talk about Caitlyn Jenner, first transsexual woman who wants to run for the state of California governorship as a Republican. Some things might surprise you about this. Joe Biden does a good thing, I think, and then right after he does a bad thing. This is Gene, and you're listening to Dumbasses Talking Politics. Hey, this is Gene. Welcome back to Dumbasses Talking Politics. All right, so let's get on with it. As I said last week on Friday, the news just came out that Caitlyn Jenner, or Bruce Jenner to my generation, has decided to run for California governor. She's trying to replace Gavin Newsom, who is being recalled because he's an absolute moron. Now, I'm going to apologize right off the bat. I am not a big fan of changing pronouns and stuff like that. I'm probably going to mess this up about 50 times. I'll try and call Jenner a she, but I'm not guaranteeing anything. I'm not going to apologize for it, so get over it. In her statement, Jenner said, quote, "California has been my home for nearly 50 years. I came here because I knew that anyone, regardless of their background or station in life, could turn their dreams into reality. But for the past decade, we have seen a glimmer of the Golden State reduced to one-party rule that places politics over progress and special interests over people. Sacramento needs a leader with a clear vision." That's all true. That's all true. I don't think a Republican governor will actually do much when it comes to changing all that. Why? There are too many Democrats that go against the Republican governor, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't try. She continues on, quote, "I am a proven winner and the only outsider who can put an end to Gavin Newsom's disastrous time as governor." You knew this was coming. She's going to be running as a Republican on a platform of lowering taxes and pushing business, which is the typical Republican stance. And by the way, she's always been a Republican. She's been a Republican for years. She also took a shot at Gavin Newsom, which expect to see this. The shots are going to be flying. Quote, "This isn't the California we know. This is Gavin Newsom's California, where he orders us to stay home but goes out to dinner with lobbyists and friends." Now, I've never heard of the French Laundry. I thought it was a big joke, but apparently he was eating at a $1,200 per person dinner, and they were serving white truffle and caviar as the dinner. Wow, talk about an elite. So, you know, I'm going to have a hard time believing that Newsom will not get recalled. But California is so corrupt. Even news pundits are saying it's not going to happen. I really have a problem. Over 2 million signatures on the recall form. The recall is all but done. They're just verifying signatures. So it's pretty much a done thing. Now, there's been some reaction. One would think that Jenner, a trans female, would be really popular in California. She won I'm going to say he, because at the time he was a male. He won the Olympic gold medal in the decathlon in 1976. He was on a popular reality TV show, Keeping Up with the Kardashians. She has always been a supporter of the LGBTQ community. Then he had a sex change a few years ago and became ESPN's Person of the Year. So, Bruce Jenner, Caitlyn Jenner, whatever you want to call him, is actually really kind of popular with the leftists. Shortly after Jenner made the big announcement, though, that he would run for governor, the LGBTQ community was really upset. And they were upset not for anything outside of the fact he is running as a Republican. This is what they say. This is from Equity California, which is an LGBTQ organization. Quote, this is they actually did this on Twitter. Quote, "Make no mistake, we can't wait to elect a trans governor of California. But Caitlyn Jenner spent years telling the LGBTQ plus community to trust Donald Trump. We saw how that turned out. Now she wants us to trust her. Hard pass. I find it funny. Trump actually always supported the LGBTQ community. But when it came to the military, he basically turned on trans people. And it really wasn't his decision. It was more of a recommendation from the military. We already talked about the military sees gender identity disorder as a problem that should keep you off the battlefield. And considering the trans community does have a 40% suicide rate, and that doesn't change once you transition, it kind of makes sense. The other thing is, and this was kind of a lie here, Caitlyn Jenner never really supported Donald Trump. She picked Ted Cruz. In 2016. She did not like Donald Trump. When Donald Trump became president, she supported Donald Trump because, I'm sorry, you support your president. That's what you do. I supported Joe Biden until he's looking at $10 trillion before even keeping the government open. So I've got a problem with Joe Biden. Now I don't support him. He's still my president, whether I like it or not. And that's what Caitlyn Jenner did. When Donald Trump announced that he was going to not allow trans people into the military, that's Caitlyn Jenner basically said, I made a mistake supporting Donald Trump. I won't do it again. That kind of thing. So basically, she's just not going to support Donald Trump. I mean, I don't see anything really bizarre. But the thing is, the LGBT community, they're not worried about Caitlyn Jenner. And they only care about her beliefs. They only care that she doesn't want to tear down the system, doesn't want to defund the police, wants to cut taxes, wants to hopefully cut immigration. We'll talk about that. But she basically has conservative values. And we're not talking libertarian values. We're talking she has conservative values. Caitlyn Jenner, I think I read this somewhere, Caitlyn Jenner still likes women. She is still a heterosexual man or a lesbian, but I mean, I'm getting confused here. She still is into women. So it's very, very, very strange. Very strange. Well, it doesn't sound like Jenner buys all of the LGBTQ crap either. Last week, The View's Joy Behar apologized for, quote, misgendering, end quote, her. Basically, she was calling him and her. It was probably an accident. I can't imagine that it wasn't an accident. Kind of like what I'm doing now. I'm sorry, I just can't get over calling Bruce Jenner a she. When asked about it, Jenner asked about Bear's apology. Jenner said she thought there was more important things to worry about in California than using the wrong pronouns. You know something? I like that. I absolutely like that. I have no problem with that. You know, it's the same thing. I have no problem using the right pronouns, whatever pronoun you want. Just don't give me garbage every time I use a pronoun by your actual physical appearance. Or what you really are. Let's call it what it is. Politics isn't going to be what the media will be beating on, though. Jenner does have some skeletons in his closet. He's been married 3 times. He was involved in a car accident in which a person was killed. He wasn't actually prosecuted for that. Drugs were not involved. Drugs or alcohol were not involved. This happened about 5-6 years ago in Malibu, California. But it was considered Jenner's fault. Jenner, again, supported Tim Cruz in 2016. He did not support Trump. He said he would die before he'd actually vote for Hillary Clinton. So his voting record has maintained a very conservative stance. And by the way, I didn't vote for Donald Trump in 2016 either. At all. I didn't even vote for president in 2016 because I thought it was just an absolute crap show during the 2016 election. I had a choice between a corrupt politician and a reality star, so I just stayed out of it. I also supported Cruz in 2016. So he is the typical, he loves, but he ended up liking Trump's foreign policy and economic policies. I mean, I don't know. Will I vote for her? Not sure. I don't really see, honestly, I don't see trans issues as a real issue. I think it's really a waste of time. I want to see what her policies are going to be. I want to see what her policies are going to be on the economy, on immigration, on the homelessness issue, on the law and order issues, on the drug issue that we have in California. I'm curious to see what her stances are to reform the state's voting, because I think the state's voting laws are absolutely terrible and very one-sided. I would vote for a transgender rabbit with wings and horns if it fixed the state. So I really don't care if this individual is a transsexual. I just think we need to wait to see if, first off, if we're actually going to go through this. I think we are. I think we are going to have a recall vote. Who else is going to be running? And what the actual policies are. Let's concentrate on that instead of the social issues. Because a lot of people really are stuck on social issues. They're not stuck on the important issues that actually important on our day-to-day lives. I'm sorry, lowering the tax rate in California, that's my big important issue. I don't see anything else as all that important. Now, I give Joe Biden a lot of crap, but I have to give him credit when credit is due. Here's the problem. I'm having an issue with this, which I'll talk about. In a call to the president or dictator of Turkey, Erdogan, Joe Biden, I can't pronounce his first name, so don't make me do it. Joe Biden said he was going to acknowledge the Armenian genocide that occurred about a century ago. The genocide and displacement of Armenians was responsible for about 1.5 million deaths. Now, acknowledgement of this has been promised by past presidents. I seem to remember Clinton actually doing this, but no president had had the guts to do it because Turkey is such an important ally in the Middle East. So, let's say gut. No, I won't say guts. Let's say the risk reward was not there to actually piss off Turkey. Though I agree with this, I'm a little bit cynical of Biden's intentions here. I ask myself, why would he do this now when there really isn't much of a benefit to doing it? And then I thought about it, and I came up with, the tensions between Israel and Iran are kicking up again. Apparently, Israel attacked a nuclear facility, destroying several nuclear centrifuges. This is important because now Iran, as I said, I think it was last week, that Iran is trying to purify plutonium to 60%, which is weapons grade. Iran responded by using their terrorist network, like the cowards they are, by launching missiles into Israel from Syria. From Syria. Of course, Israel is launching missiles into Syria in response. Most of the missiles have not hit any targets. People were injured. No one was killed that I know of. Last I heard, there were just several people injured. Things are beginning to heat up in the Middle East. And we know how much Joe Biden loves Israel. If you can't tell, I'm being kind of sarcastic. So why does he have to do this with Turkey now? Turkey has always been a base for the United States when there are conflicts in the Middle East. They were a base for the United States during the Iraq wars, and they've been a base for the United States during the conflicts with Syria. If Turkey refuses to be an ally because of this, it would be an excuse for the Biden administration. And this is cynical. I understand it. But it would be an excuse for the Biden administration not to get involved in any conflict between Iran and Israel, and it looks like a conflict is coming. Biden is also really pushing rejoining this Iranian nuclear agreement for some reason. I think he'd do anything to get that ball rolling again, and including screwing Israel. Some of the things he's already promising another pallet of money and just bizarre things, and Iran is actually being kind of jerks about it. We also learned this week that the Republican National Guard in Iran, not the political, which is an arm of the mullahs, is actually running policy in Iran, including foreign policy. It is not the political wing of the Iranian government. This is very disturbing. This means that we're not going to have any peace over there when you've got the military actually running things. So a conflict, I hate to say it, looks like it's almost guaranteed eventually, especially if Iran actually runs up some nuclear weapons. Now, right now, some of the damage done has really put their nuclear ambitions on hold. But expect Israel to actually do more damage. This is not going to change. And the left, for some reason, absolutely loves the Palestinians, who aren't actually a group of people. There's no such thing as Palestine. There has never been a country of Palestine. So that's a crap argument. What's worse is the Palestinians are run by a terrorist government. I think it's called Hamas. It's either Hamas or Hezbollah. I think Hezbollah. And they're suppressing their people. They're the ones that actually send missiles and send bombs or send grenades and bombs tied to balloons, and then use children in the front lines so Israel doesn't shoot. They actually hide their military weapons inside of schools because they think that Israel will not bomb the schools. When you hear Israel bombing a school, it's because Israel's trying to get rid of weapons. And it really gets hard to feel bad for anybody when this happens. But that's Hezbollah. They're just terrible people. We're going to have to see what's going to happen in the Middle East, because this is going to really get hot very soon. And I just am not sure that telling Turkey, we acknowledge that your government killed 1.5 million people 100 years ago, is really a good idea at this time when we might need Turkey in the future to protect Israel from Iran. Or actually use military force against Iran, which I don't think Biden would do. So we'll have to see. Maybe I'm being cynical, but I'm not so sure I am. Now you got to realize that, with a good move from the Biden administration, there's going to come something really dumb. And this is it. From the Daily Wire, Secretary of State Antony Blinken has given blanket approval for U.S. embassies and consulates around the world to fly the rainbow LGBT pride flag on the same pole as the American flag. This was done because the Trump administration actually banned any flag but the U.S. flag on any federal buildings. He did this because he believed the flag of the United States said all it needed to about us. Our flag represents all people in the United States, not just a subset of the population. It was part of Trump's America First policy. By the way, this is what unity is about. Hey, we're not banning the LGBT. The flag is for you too. Or blacks. The flag is for you too. I do find it amazing that the same people who are on the streets claiming how terrible America isn't A, leaving the country. You could go to another country. I would love if Antifa and BLM, who are both, well, Antifa is anarcho-communist, with whatever that means. That's kind of I've explained that in a previous podcast too. That's kind of a it's kind of a dumb statement. It contradicts itself. You can't be an anarchist and a communist. They're One's totalitarian, one is completely no law whatsoever. So I don't know how that works. And BLM is a pure communist, socialist, Marxist organization. Marxist, let's use Marxist because it's more theoretical than actual practice. But it's kind of, these people never want to go to where there's real communism. You guys want to go, you can go to Venezuela, you can go to Cuba, you can go to Russia, you can go to China. None of these people actually do that. As a matter of fact, the second part is they always sit back and try and get more people into this country. Well, if this country is such a bad country, why do you want to open the borders so that people can come in? It's a terrible country. Why do you want people in? I don't want other people in. And I'd be glad. You've got the opportunity in the United States to leave the United States. Go. Thing is, this whole thing is just a crappy policy. It is very divisive. Americans like me and like you, we understand what the flag represents for the United States. We do. It represents all of us. There is no color. There is nothing but the United States. And people were all the same. Biden just shows with this that the United States is not, or he does not follow America first. He doesn't care about America. He's a globalist. He thinks we're one world. By the way, this globalism thing is so stupid. Every time I say I'm a nationalist, though, white national. No, I'm not a white nationalist. I believe a nationalist. I believe in America first. That's it. That's all it means. I believe America first. Whether you're black, brown, green, red, it doesn't make any difference. That's all I believe. He's about creating divisions. He's about acknowledging certain groups, which is a terrible, terrible thing. And his policies beginning to reflect that. And the problem I'm seeing is people who look at that don't acknowledge that that type of policy is actually not only divisive, it's bigoted and racist. I know if I walk to a federal building, like an American embassy, I can tell you that flag doesn't represent me. Only the American flag represents me. The only flag, our flag encompasses everyone. And that's really the point of this whole thing. Maybe I spent too much time on it. This move also makes me really wish Donald Trump was still on Twitter or Facebook or wherever. I would love to hear his opinion on this, and I guarantee you he'd be saying pretty much the same thing that I'm saying. And you know he'd have an opinion, and it would probably be really, really funny. All right, and the last story, I'm trying to keep these podcasts to kind of 20 minutes or 30 minutes or so, because I know people like them when they're a little shorter. But a bunch of cops were on a call in, I don't know where they were. And of course, they had to be harassed by a couple of black teens recording, the kind that are suppressed, recording with their $600 cell phones their interaction so they could upload it on social media and become famous. But one of the police officers had a response when asked by one of the teens if he was going to shoot him. Listen to this. It's hysterical. It's actually did go viral, but probably for the wrong reason the teen expected.
Oh, y'all gonna kill me like Ma'Khia Bryant? Fuck.
Are you gonna stab somebody like her?
No,
Okay.
she called y'all for help. Fuck is you talking about? Get your goofy ass. I can't. And you just said that on camera. This shit going viral. This. Oh, y'all.
Well, it did go viral, but not for the reasons. That cop made that little rapscallion look stupid. That kid actually admitted, well, yeah, she tried to stab. Oh, wait a minute. No, she called for help. No, he's wrong. She didn't call for help. The gal who was sitting at the car and almost got stabbed called for help. She dialed 911 because the gal already had a knife. And the cop was there. He had 9 seconds to shoot. Now, there is a rumor on Twitter, which one has to take for a grain of salt when it comes to rumors on Twitter. But I'll bring it up because it wouldn't shock me if it's true that this police officer is facing a suspension for unprofessional behavior. Now, I'm not sure how this is unprofessional. Unprofessional would have been to pull his billy club out and start beating the crap out of this kid. By the way, you want to know my opinion on spankings? Yeah. This kid needed to be spanked when he was young because he obviously has no respect for anyone. By the way, I think that cop, you can't really tell because he's got a mask on, but I think that cop was a person of color. He doesn't look white. Now, I could be wrong. I don't know. Maybe you can take a look at the video. Go to dumbasstalkingpolitics.com. But it's there. And he looks like he's actually he looks like he's at least a person of color. Maybe Hispanic, maybe half black. You can't really tell. And just a little update. The kid didn't get cited, arrested, beaten, tased, or shot. Even though, like I said, he probably deserved at least a spanking. He just looked really stupid in the video when he posted it. Great deal. And I'll give you a little update whether or not this police officer gets suspended. We should actually hear something very soon because it is so viral. It's not even funny. It's all over the internet right now. Well, since I've got a couple minutes left, I did not watch the Oscars yesterday because there is not one movie that I watched. A movie that won I'd never even heard of. All the movies, actually, I'd never heard of. And basically, it was a Black Lives Matter rally. I will actually download one guy who I really respect now more than ever. It was Tyler Perry's speech. Now, I respected Tyler Perry for a very long time. I don't like his movies. I don't like the Madea movies. I don't like any of them. That doesn't mean that I can't respect the man for doing what he's doing. He became a billionaire because, and this guy was poor, and he became a billionaire. When his movies didn't get produced, you know what he did? He took the opportunity that America gives him, and he created his own film studio. His film studio that he runs, film studio that that does not use unions or anything like that. And he made his movies. His movies became popular. And he became a billionaire. This is a guy who sees the opportunity of the United States. I'm probably going to use this exact same speech tomorrow when I play his speech because I didn't download it. And it came out last night. And I didn't watch the Oscars till today. And basically his idea, his quote, the big quote, I refuse to hate someone because they are a police officer. And it was really a moving speech. You know it wasn't very popular, but you know what? He doesn't care. Do you know why? Because he made himself. And he knows that there's opportunity. This is a black man that all other black people should be looking up to. Oprah Winfrey is too. So's LeBron James, even though they hate the country. They should sit back and they should look up to these people and say, gosh, you know what? I don't care what LeBron James says. He's worth $1 billion. Tyler Perry is worth $1 billion. Oprah Winfrey is the richest woman that I know of in the world. And there is opportunity in this country. And it's nice to see someone like Tyler Perry actually take the opposite side of BLM and all of those other, I'd say, leeches. If they hate the United States, they're just a leech. LeBron James, what does he give to society? Nothing. He gives nothing to society. He throws a basketball into a hoop. So what? Do you know how LeBron James has changed my life? It just makes me not want to watch NBA, which, by the way, you already told you, is down 50% in the last 5 years. Viewership. So, good for Tyler Perry. I think I'm going to play his speech tomorrow. I probably not going to have much to say. But, hey, maybe I should watch the Madea movies again and give them a second chance. Because, yeah, no, I'm probably not. Because they weren't very good movies as far as I'm concerned. But good for him. I'm glad to see someone like that actually make it. And he made it because of hard work and taking the opportunities that he had in the United States. Because I can guarantee you one thing. He's not going to get those opportunities anywhere else in the world. Okay, you can download or listen to this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Podbean, Podcast Addict, and YouTube and Rumble. You can visit my site at dumbassestalkingpolitics.com to take a look at my show notes. I do want to say, I have started using this vitamins called, and this is not a paid thing. This is not an advertisement. I'm not getting anything for this, but it really works. It's this Balance from Nature thing. These are vitamins that actually take dried up vegetables and fruits. You get 2 bottles, one with fruits and one with vegetables. You take 3 tablets a day of each, so 6 tablets a day. And so it gives you all of your vitamins and minerals for the entire day. All of the vegetables you need, all of the fruits you need for the entire day. And I thought I'd try it. What the heck? I'm getting older. I'm up at 5:30 in the morning. I've been using it for about 2 weeks. I'm up at 5:30 in the morning. I am exercising before 7 o'clock. I'm getting my podcast done. I'm getting my writing done. I'm getting everything done. I feel sharper, stronger, far more energy. This is some good stuff, and I gotta say, it's the only thing I've actually changed was actually using this Balance of Nature. So give it a shot. See what you think. It isn't cheap. I mean, I think it's initially. I'm on a subscription now, so I take 6 a day, and I'm gonna run out after 30 days. That's what 2 bottles it gives you, and every month I'm gonna get a new set. And I'm pretty happy with it. So anyway, thanks for listening. Hope you have a great week. This is Gene, and you've listened to Dumbasses Talking Politics.